welcome, Stephen.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. It's always a pleasure to have you in the studio. It's a lovely afternoon here on a Friday. And we have a fantastic guest with us this evening.
Oh, do we ever? Matt Shanahan. And Matt, you can blurt in anytime, but please don't interrupt me while I'm doing the sponsors. First, a little housekeeping. First, to Brian Curl Basketball, one of our great sponsors. Great stuff happening at the Academy. We wrapped up yesterday for the first term holidays. Great program. Thank you, Brian. Also to Chris Weir from FIT Education, the RTO that you want to go if you're looking to get your certificate or diploma in fitness or others. Thank you very much, Chris. And then to Ryan Stahlberg of Big Dog Sports. You guys, big shortage of basketball courts around Brisbane, unlike Victoria where Matt hails. But you need a court, mate, go to Big Dog.
I had the pleasure of having a feed with Stolly this week. I had a great chat to him, and we're going to get the two Bennies on at the same time.
Ben
Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
And not two Bennies, Ben Thompson and Ryan.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, we have them both. That would be funny.
No, well, I think that's great. Can they do a McCartney-Lennon on one microphone?
Yeah, we'll have to.
Okay.
Our producer will sort that out.
Now we're going to encourage you, Matt, to jump in at any time.
Thanks for having me. No, it's been. I was thinking in the car right here. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was about 33 years ago. You guys recruited me up here.
Yes,
we just talked about that,
yes.
and I was coaching. I was a PE teacher at Terrace.
That's right.
And I remember meeting you at Boondall, and I think we said something like, "Would you like to become educated and go to high school?" And you said, "Look, primary school's good enough for me."
Yeah, my mother looked at me and I looked at her, and she's like, "No, this
and
school."
I looked at both of you, knowing, well, that just shot this out of the air.
Happen.
This isn't going to, he's not interested.
Just a good memory.
Yeah, I got offered a lucrative $15,000 contract by you guys, and I think I was accommodated. The other offer was living with. Is it Neil Hamilton Smith?
Yes.
Yeah, the courtside announcer, which was a great guy, but decided to go back to the Giants and, for $15,000 and live at home. So
fair enough, but did you not win a championship
yes,
that
year? We did that year.
It was a good decision.
Yeah, it was a good decision, but, it's great to see you guys, and obviously Bruce and I have a long-lasting relationship,
Absolutely.
so I'm looking forward to talking great memories.
Yeah. And mate, let's just get some things, because your Wikipedia page is lusty.
Yes.
But we do know this. You're up here now because you're coaching the Vic Metro under-18s.
That's right, yep.
How many championships have you won?
So we won the last two, and lucky enough as coach. So I really love doing that. Won 5 as a player, and now run 2 as a coach, and hopefully make it 3 in a week's time. But truly love representing my state, and love working with these kids. They're elite kids. So really enjoyable week ahead.
You made an interesting comment about that these kids aren't going to be across the board because they're COVID kids.
Yeah, they are. I think the talent pool probably across this age group is fair to say it's not as what it has been, but that presents different challenges. So still got some very talented kids, and the depth of Victorian basketball is very evident. We've lost 2 players, but it'll be challenging, and looking forward to the challenge.
Who's your competition? Do you know who?
Yeah, it's a good question. WA seem to have a couple of good kids, and a little bit going into a little bit of the unknown. In previous years, we're going to play Queensland South. We know we're in Morocco and Roman, and last year we knew what we were running into, but this year it's like I said, the talent pool is probably less. Doesn't mean it's not as good, but it's a bit less, and there's a few unknowns, and there might be some shining lights out of this tournament that we haven't heard of before.
Who's your best in your team? Who's your?
We're fairly balanced across the board. We've got 2 COE kids that are going to come up tonight, but we're fairly balanced across the board, I think, and that's the depth. The beautiful thing about Victorian basketball is now in this tournament you can have 12 players. So and I feel quite comfortable in
Victoria's always been strong.
I feel quite comfortable in rotating those 12 throughout the tournament.
Really?
Yeah, well that's. It's a marathon, not a sprint, isn't it? So we'll try to rotate them and keep them fresh, and for that gold medal game at the end of the week.
How many 2 games a day do you have in this?
The other pool has got the 2 games. So it's either one pull the other. And lucky enough for the last 3 years, I don't know if it's because you won it, but we privileged enough not to have 2 games in one day.
Good.
So that's a good thing for us. But yeah, no, it's still each game's a challenge, and everyone wants to beat Victoria. So we've got to put our best foot forward. We lost the game last year against Queensland South. Bruce, you were there, and that was good. That was really good for us. Gave us a wake-up call we needed, and then we came along with the gold medal.
And they pooped the bed.
Yeah, I mean that's tournament play, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, we want to be good at the end of the week, not the start.
And you gotta stay healthy. And they had one guy, a big, heavy set.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
Bad calf.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember the thing when, a group in obviously great physical condition.
Yes.
When we went to the last 22 and under, we had Joe Ingles, who had recovering from a fractured bone in his foot. Sorry, mate. It was too big of a roll of the dice. And we took Matty Knight, who was healthy. Of course, he tears his calf while we're there.
Yeah. We won't bring up the 1995 World Championship team that you cut me from. Last cut.
Second to the last
Or
cut.
second to last.
Glenn Seville,
Seville,
Mark Nash,
okay.
you. I mean, we
Yeah.
could have fielded a good
So
15-man roster.
Just help me with my lack of knowledge of how Victorian basketball has always been so strong. Do you, you're at the Diamond Valley at the moment, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. I'm the director of coaching at Diamond Valley Basketball. Yep.
So what other, for you to get the Vic Metro job, what other coaching are you doing, or is that sort of your gig for the year as a head coach?
Yeah, I've been coaching for 25 years. So I was coaching when I was living in Wollongong. I hope Bruce would say I'd always had a good mind for coaching. And then from there, I've literally coached.
Do you think that was from your primary school education?
Yeah, I think the primary school education helped.
Well, we were going through, again, he's played for Gorgon.
Yeah.
He's played for the 3 championships he's won now. Brett Brown, North Melbourne, Wollongong Hawks, Brendan Joyce, Brian Gorgon.
Yeah.
So played for Curly. I mean, did you play for Fisher?
Played for Fisher, I played for you, 9 different teams and 9 different coaches, and I was a journeyman, but I learned a lot of what to do and what not to do from each of them, and that's sort of moulded what I am now. So
yeah, but I guess what I'm saying, you put your hand up for Vic Metro, you've been doing it for 3 years.
Yep.
That's a pretty sought after job, I'm assuming. Under 18 boys, Vic Metro, wow.
Yeah, it is. But like anyone that wants the job, I had to put in the hard yards, the early morning sessions and the NITP stuff we do, the STP stuff we do.
Right.
Had to put in the hard, go to the camps, go to the talent identification camps for 3 or 4 years.
It's a lot of effort, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of effort, but it's been well worth it at the end. But hopefully the runs on the board that I had previously as a coach sort of got me this position. And and Grant Wallace, obviously being head of high performance at Basketball Victoria, I've known him for a long time, played for him as well. It's been a good relationship.
And tell me about, again, my lack of Victorian, and we do fortunately have quite a few Victorian listeners. And Diamond Valley, how big is the club? Give me some perspective.
Diamond Valley would probably be considered probably a medium-sized club, but still 44 rep teams that I take care of. 44 rep teams, yeah. And we're kicking some goals. We've had some really good success in our higher level. So VC, we call it Victorian Championship, which is A-grade Division 1 teams representing in each age group, which has been great. We had 40% of girls that made the under-16 state team were from Diamond Valley. So
nice.
We got a kid up to the COE who's part of this under-18 team, was from Diamond Valley. So small club, but kicking some real goals.
Nice.
Now, let me interrupt you. And we're going to jump into our normal segments of shout-outs, Daily Mail. But I also want to welcome Zoe Shanahan, who's going to be off. Welcome, Zoe. Blurt out something. Off to Pepperdine University on a scholarship.
Yes.
Oh,
Going to be a wave.
Yes.
And I can
And
see
the campus
that
wasn't damaged at all with the fires?
No, untouched.
The campus is a safety house, so it's a safety zone during that fire. So you took a picture, if you looked on socials of Pepperdine University, it's immaculate, but charcoal around.
Yeah.
So it's actually a safety house.
So all those bums living on the Pacific Highway have moved up to seek shelter at Pepperdine campus. Anyway, Zoe, welcome to here, and you can blurt out anytime, and you can fact check us on the moment.
And I have to make a comment. We've talked about this before. The opportunity for the youth today, good basketball players, but you can go Div 1, Div 2, Div 3, even, junior college. It just didn't exist in...
Unbelievable. We're talking about kids, even this afternoon, 2 kids from my state team. One's going to be earning in the vicinity of $500,000 next year at a university.
NIL.
Yeah.
Name, image, and likeness.
And the other one we had 3 years ago, he had a great year in Portland, Aussie Rap. The rumour is there's something over $1 million a year. To go to, he's put himself in the portal after being.
Is he at Portland with?
Yeah, he was at Portland
with Max.
With Max. Yeah, he was WCC Freshman of the Year.
So let's get into our shout outs. So first shout out was to Alex Condon, the Aussie from WA with I think he's a sophomore, 6'11".
Yeah, Florida.
With Florida, who are in the Final Four.
Yeah.
Max McKinnon, who's now going to be going to LSU with David Patrick.
Yeah.
Max is just. I wonder if he got an NIL deal.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
I'm sure he did, because his numbers were like he was just under 20 a game and
Rumor.
like 8 rebounds a game.
Rumor alert, I heard third party from, can I drop a name?
Yeah.
Alan Westover, who had
Is
heard
from Palova?
Correct.
Yeah.
Who had heard
Do you know
from...
what Palovas are?
No.
Let me drop this name.
Yeah.
Let's don't interrupt. Let me drop this name. Ian Stacker told Al Westover that Rocco
Sikorsky.
Yes.
got a $4 million NIL offer.
Wow.
I mean, it's just insane.
Damian Martin's his agent.
Yeah.
Damo.
Yeah.
And Damo's, he's enjoying that. If he's got $4 million, that means he's picked up a little bit of coin. But it's just another world.
It is.
More shout outs, and we got to get you on this because you're a past Brisbane Bullets player. Unfortunately, I couldn't go. My wife fell ill. That's a lie. I said she was ill, but really I was ill.
We won't go there.
Let's don't do that.
Yeah.
But they held that on Tuesday. First.
So they got a new. We're right in the. Have you? I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I looked on socials. Looks great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually finally after a very long time. It's a good facility, great weight room. It's just a single court, but it's got 6 baskets, and it's just it's a proper, what you would expect of a professional team to have. Location is A grade, like it's right at South Bank, which is in the heart of the city.
Right across from the.
Yeah,
and your way around.
And then we just all walked to the plough in, and but we had Leroy and Cal and Murray Shields came from Canberra, as did Cal, and Leroy, Andre. Roger Smith, Lukey Gribble, Bruce Fitzgerald is the first ever captain of the club. Just a really good feel. I mean, there were heaps more there. It was just they didn't have to do that. I tried to, Malcolm Watts is the CEO, and I tried very hard he announced the coach yesterday of the Bullets, and I was trying to invite him onto the podcast to announce it, and he said he'll talk to us later after it. But he
wanted to come on today. I said, "There's no way. I'm married to Matt Shanahan. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I'd be very disappointed."
Announcing Stu Lash, Matt Shanahan was actually a bigger item for us.
Correct weight. I mean, Lash, LaRue. We got more. Jack White, I guess he's declared he's not coming back to United. He's playing in Germany.
Declared him, ready to get out. So,
that's just the producer will be able to cut Bruce's phone out. Yeah,
that's really unacceptable.
But it sounds like White's going overseas.
I think so. Yeah, I'm not sure about my assistant coach. Actually, is a head video guy, Andy Lim, who's unbelievable what he does, but apparently he's taken up his option and looking elsewhere.
I mean, Melbourne seemed like they're losing a lot of players. Delhi's on a tour of Australia at the moment, talking to anyone that will want to throw in for a 4-year deal.
Should we just flip this into rumours and whispers now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, have you finished your shout-outs?
Well, I got other, like with Flynn Cameron. He's loose as a goose. I'd jump on him.
I take him in a
But
heartbeat.
there's so much happening now in the free agency, so why don't we get into some little bit
Well,
of
I mean-
rumors? Because I think Matt had a little
I'm
something
hoping
that I
Matt
hope
might
he's
have
going to
some-
share
some
about
stuff.
Delhi.
Really? Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm hearing different things, but yeah, apparently I hear he wants 3 or 4 years, and
So he wants to play when he's
he wants
48.
to play. He wants to play a while, and he's looking for someone to do that. So
I mean, I am the biggest Delhi fan. You know, I think he's awesome. I think how he plays the game, how he conducts himself.
I don't know if I believe you.
But 4 years, that means he's 36, right?
yeah.
And he's talking about the 28 Olympics.
Yeah.
I mean, I take my hat off to him to even verbalise that, to think that, you know, some of us in the room here know what, you know, Father Time does to us, like I'm sitting here in a fucking wheelchair.
Yeah.
But, you know...
Look, I think he's a very competitive beast, and sometimes, and as you get older, you're going to have to start to realise that things are slowing down.
Your reaction,
Your worth sort of tends to go down. But I agree.
I'd
with
sign him for one or two
I
anyway.
agree with you a certain part. I think there was instances there this year with Melbourne United where I think they were better without him. And the games that he missed, I thought they were well balanced with Shea Ely and
their backcourt's great.
Their backcourt's great.
Front
With Goulding,
But Illy's on the free agent as well.
yeah, but I think that their main problem with United is probably their front court problems last year and just the production they got out of their bigs, and that's like you said, they got a lot to pick up. I think they got 3 contracted players, so Dino's got some work to do.
And it seems like Tassie's trying to recruit everyone. Have you heard that? Like Bannon's supposed to be going there. You said that.
Bannon's rumoured at United as well. Yep.
Is he?
Yep.
Is Schuler coming back to United?
I heard Schuler's going back to Melbourne. I don't know about United.
There's a job opening in China
Is there?
that they're looking for somebody with NBL experience. Should I reach out to him?
Sure.
No. Zoe, are you playing in the under-18s this weekend?
No, I'm aged out. I played last year.
Okay, I hope you guys all caught that up, but the answer was no.
Yeah.
All
You
right.
said
Now,
She's
can
my
we-
assistant coach this week.
Oh,
Yes.
baller. I want to get into Lash LaRue, Stu Lash,
Yeah, I think we need to talk a little
the
bit
Bullets
about.
appointment. Now, here we're sitting along one of the best Australian junior coaches, period. Right? The opportunity to coach at the NBL. Do you see an opportunity?
No, you don't. And I sit and watch from afar, and maybe a little bit old and grumpy now, but I genuinely think that there's a couple of things. I think there's back in our day when Bruce and Brian were coaching, and even Brandon, Alan Black, they paid their dues at the lower level, and then they got a job at a higher level coaching the NBL at an NBL level. And I think they proved themselves. I think they can coach. I think the respect level now and US ownership, the respect level that people have for Australian coaches, it just isn't there.
Well, Stuart Nash.
Yeah.
No, is that his name? Yeah. Did I get that right? Stu Nash. His
Lash.
Lash. Last time I've tried very hard to do some research on him, and all I can find out that he's very good friends with one of the owners. It's called Levian. But the only time I can find that he had a head coaching job was as a high school.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing I sort of speak about too. There's so many coaches that get a job here in Australia that are assistant coaches, never coached before.
Mike Wells.
Yeah.
I mean-
Mike Kelly. I love Mike Kelly, but
But you know, like Mike
Yeah.
Wells in Adelaide, right?
Yeah.
Some people saying, okay, he did a good job last year. It was a pretty strong roster
Yeah.
that they had, and and when I look at him, he looks like he's got deer in headlight to me at times. Like, and like when I watch games, I love listening to the coaches in the timeout, and you pick up shit.
yeah.
Are they confident? What are
Yeah,
they
yeah.
saying? What are the
It's the
players
pressure.
listening?
It's the pressure. As an assistant coach, you know what you need to do. You might have to do a scout. You might have a scout of a team. You might have to work someone out. Whether you're coaching NBL 1 level Seabull back in the day, whether you're coaching Tiddlywinks or under 18 men, you got to have those sleepless nights as a head coach. You got to think about what you're going to do next. How are you going to get the next win?
But is it? I mean, because they can make good money as an assistant coach in other parts of the world. Like you've got a director of coaching job at
Diamond Valley.
Yeah.
Diamond Valley, right? And I would think that you work hard and you probably make a decent coin, but as assistant coaching job in the NBL, it's probably less.
It's probably less, but
And you've got to go back, so you've got to earn less to get in the gig, you know?
Well, you do, yeah, and that was at the very start of my career. I did have options to do that, and a young family of 4 young kids, it just wasn't feasible enough, and you can make money through basketball in Melbourne, but
In other ways.
Yeah, but my point being is just there's a lot of coaches that have come and gone, and they're just been inexperienced in head coaching. Not assistant coaching, head coaching.
Well,
Whether you're from the NBA, you're from wherever you've
Mike
been.
Wells,
Or the guy that worked under Brian Gorge, and I don't mean to be awful, but Jacob Jacomas, worked under one of the best for how long was he with Jacob?
Great assistant.
Yeah, great assistant, probably proven, and I'm sure he's learned and maybe deserves a second chance, which doesn't happen in this country. Does it, Bruce?
No.
No one gets a second chance. But, the proof's in the pudding, like some of those guys just never coached before. Head coach. Before.
And the thing about Jacob, who's a very good friend, and I really learned a lot from him. When he was in China with Brian, and then he came back and he had the head of basketball at Knox College in Sydney. They finally win it. He's making close to $100,000 a year, but he's a competitor and he wanted to come back in the NBL. Brian got the job, brought him in, and it was always a kind of a thing where, with the Olympics approaching and what have you, that I'm going to be bowing out and Jacob will take the job. And for what, when he got fired, he told me I lost him, right? I lost the players.
Yep.
And that's usually when you go.
But then that squad, Tatum comes in much stronger personality. He comes with a pedigree. His son is like one of the greatest players in the world at the moment, and strong personality.
Apparently, he's just amazing. He's an amazing, from all reports that you hear, just amazing motivator of men, and gets people to play for him. X's and O's, but he
big jump,
relationships. Big jump, huge jump.
Assistant coach to head.
Yeah,
It's a significant jump.
yeah.
And you can be this great assistant coach, and you don't have to. It's the man management, or player management, male or female, and that is something that some people just can't do. Like,
Can I steer this over to Lash LaRue?
oh yeah, let's get that Lasharoo.
Because here's the thing, he was on an advisor, right, to the team that advised fire.
Well, apparently they
Shula.
interviewed 24. They had 24 applicants and then reduced it to 6 for interviews. And then I guess because Stu was doing the interviews, he goes, no one's better than me.
Well, that's what it looks like from the outside.
It does, yes.
But, mate, they got to recruit. And, all right, Lash LaRue's at the helm.
Yeah.
Now, it ain't like, hey, I'm going to play for Tatum. I'm going to play for Gorgon.
Oh, no one's
I want to play for John Riley. It's going to be all about dollars, baby.
He has to open the checkbook. In my opinion, and this is just, I occasionally share it, is they need to let Bateman go, and they've signed Prather already, and they need, because Stewie Lash is head coaching. The only way he's going to be successful is have great players.
Insult alert.
And so he needs to. They need to bring in 2 studs. That's the
3.
only way.
You're allowed 3.
And, I could
But you
roll
got
in
Prather.
there.
Prather's a stud.
Yeah, Prather's a stud, but he's he's another year older. He did out. I have to admit, he ended up being better than I thought he was going to be, because in his first
Coming
season
back off that knee,
he looked wounded, but he was tough last
Did
year.
he have the Carmen Miranda hairstyle when he was playing with Perth?
Well, my thoughts on the man bun aren't high, but
Well, this is stacked up.
but Casey Prather is a rather well-built, strong gentleman, and he can wear his hair whichever way he likes.
I think we're just jealous.
I'm follicularly challenged. So I got my read on it, and I don't want to be a bagger.
I don't know.
But for God's sake, Steve Woodbury wanted, inquired. I get a thing at 3 a.m. Hey, Bruce, do you know what's
Mel
his
Watts.
name? Mel Watts.
Spoke to him yesterday on the phone.
I said,
Dude, Woodbury.
Yeah. He actually recruited one of my point guards my championship winning point guard the last 2 years, Ryder Cheeseman, to his school in Missouri State. And Ryder shows up at the school and like, this guy's calling your bubble. And he's played with you, and his name's Steve Woodbury. I'm like, get out of here.
Didn't Steve with Minnesota on the back bench? Of the
no,
Bulls?
I heard that too, and that's why I didn't really click. But apparently, he's been there this season with Missouri State, and going back again and enjoying life. Yeah,
okay.
so
My bad.
when I spoke to him on the phone, he tried to make contact with a few people and get himself out there. But
Well, here's the problem.
Yeah.
So I go like everybody else. I go to the internet. Here's their number. It hits a wall, right? Here's info at Brisbane Bullets. It hits a wall, bounces back. Oh, here's one for the CEO at Brisbane Bullets. It bounces back. I mean, you know, I guess so. If you wanted to reach out, hey, I got an interest in this job, you better know Mal's
Steve
number.
Woodbury, he's up there in when you think about some of the best players that's ever played in this country. Like Woodbury was tough as hell.
unbelievable that year. We were here, Bruce, when Curly was a coach
Yeah.
and your assistant. He was MVP that year. Just amazing player. And yeah, would be a great asset to bring back to Brisbane.
And his coaching, that's been his life. He's put his
He's been at some big time universities over there, Wake Forest.
scouting for NBA. He's big time.
So all in all, I'm just like, how it looks for me is that Stu Lash, or if I don't mind calling him Lash LaRue, he was on the thing that decided, hey, we're going to find our new coach.
Because he hasn't got a nickname. I like it. Let's get it
I
out
think it's
there
gonna
early.
be
Lash
there.
LaRue.
Lash LaRue.
The Roo is Australian.
Yeah.
So it's a Lash LaRue. I like it.
It's LaRue, but it's good. So I'm going to do this search and everything else. And like you said, well, I'm the best candidate here, as far as I can see.
Yeah.
So it smells like a dead rat. It stinks. And I'm like, hey, come on. That search didn't go very far. And I wish them because they're my team. They're my team in my hometown.
We want them to be better. Like it's
Just an American advisor with no knowledge about the landscape here in Australia and who can coach here.
Well, I'm gonna throw a boot into King. Is it Josh King, the coach in the Heartland?
Yeah.
Gets rid of Sam.
Yep.
First he tells Sam, hey, we want you in, and no doubt Sam, for one, he held the ship, right? He goes, 4-1? Is that 5 games he coached, or 3-1?
Yep.
Yeah. Then he turns around a week later and calls him and tells him, mate, I don't want a past head coach to be my assistant.
He doesn't want someone that has an aspiration to be a head coach to be part of his assistant. Like, what the fuck, you know?
There has been some coaches back in the day that have done that too. They're afraid that their assistant's gonna take their job. You know, like I really enjoyed playing for Brendan, but Brendan would get people like that wouldn't take his job. You know,
Well, he's not comfortable in his own skin.
Well, maybe not. But Sam did a great job, and I actually, I try to acknowledge my skill all the time, and spent 2 weeks with him, with Sam and Josh at Phoenix, and I thought they worked quite well together, and it was a genuine surprise for me just the success they had in that short space of time, both of them together.
Sammy's a good friend of ours. He spent a lot of time up here.
Well, we grew up together, so we're the same age. So
I think he would have been great for the Bullets, and then I don't think he got any play.
He didn't even get a look. Sammy didn't even get a look,
Anyway, we got Lash LaRue.
Lash LaRue is
Lash LaRue, and let's just see how that goes. Can we get into our guest?
Yeah, let's spend a little bit of time with our guest, the Shagadelic.
So Diamond Valley coach, are you still doing bubble boards?
correct. I was actually going to make it. I was going to might be a sponsor. Maybe we make bubble boards a sponsor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyone wants a custom-made coach's board?
They're great, by the way.
Let's do
They
it.
are absolutely
Yes.
great. They're a handy tool, and I just want to say, any other guests that we come on, it's going to have to be a condition.
They have to sponsor
You're going to have to sponsor us.
You didn't really want to speak to me for it.
How long have you been doing the bubble board? boys?
No, it was just a niche like that I found. Like I'd obviously got into coaching, and went to Rebel and try to find a coach's board.
And
I'm
they
like,
were shit.
Yeah, it was like
And
a
the
generic,
pens were shit.
a generic $50 coach's board. I'm like, we could do this better. So just got together with a local sign artist, and we messed around for about a year to try to find the right board, but and design it properly. But yeah, we make custom made boards, so we do bulk orders and one-off orders for. They want that club
I just
logo.
met with Dan George, who's the head of basketball at Brisbane Grammar
Yep.
School.
Sammy's ordered for Terrace. We did volleyball. I think we did volleyball once for him as well.
We'll
So
get
back in the
we
day,
got to get him
Sammy,
at Brisbane Grammar School. I know I got all of our coaches. I didn't get you one, Steve, because you have a tendency to break them in anger.
There's only one person that's broken a bubble board, and that's D-Mac. He broke it over his head. So he's the only one in bubble board history. It's 10 years now we've had the business, so he's the only one to break it. Very durable board, Bruce.
And D-Mac's not the kind of guy that loses his cool.
Well, if you go along to an NBL 1 game, he did down in Melbourne one time. If his team finishes last again this year, I'm sure he might lose it.
We would be ecstatic to announce the bubble boards every week, but that's a very cool thing. Is there a push for electronic?
Well, there is. I tried to bring in. I don't know if you remember the Magna Doodles back in the day. The kids have the Magna Doodles, and it's very popular in Spain and Europe right now. So
really?
I'm trying to add to that.
I would have thought like an iPad, even bigger screen than this one.
Yeah. Gorge wanted. Gorge likes magnetic, so I've made a couple of magnetic for Gorge. But yeah, trying to roll into that.
That's our sponsors.
You're in. I'm in.
Cheap and easy, baby.
Yeah, I just got the contract handed to me.
Yeah, well, I just kind of got. I don't let the grass grow under my feet, as Matt knows.
3 championships. Let's just
Let's start with the worst basketball experience that he had. in the
here we
NBL.
go. Yeah,
And I would have to guess that's the Hunter Pirates.
Yeah, it was. Me and you were there.
It was some bullshit,
Yeah, it
Lardo.
was. I remember. I was part of the. I got fired. I got cut from Brendan the year after we won the championship, 8 games into the season, and I was lucky enough to get rehired to play the remainder of the season with the Canberra Cannons.
Right.
And then had a good probably 20 games where I did really well and sort of resurrected my career. From then on, obviously the Cannons the Hunter Pirates were bought by the Cannons. So then Bruce was the coach. I remember me sleeping on your lounge room floor.
Mate, it was.
Had to go try out for this team.
Had to try out.
Yeah, had to try out. So I flew up there, and Bruce was kind enough to put me on his lounge room floor. Geez, what an absolute debacle that was. Bruce got fired. How many games in the
11.
season? 11 games into the
I
season.
missed one game. I had to go home to my brother's funeral.
It made me, got fired for telling everyone how bad we were, which wasn't too bad. Stretching the imagination, we were horrible. And
We were under-resourced.
We were under-resourced.
How many years did the Pirates last for?
2 years.
Two.
Yeah.
Was it 2 years?
Yeah,
two.
my year, and then Adrian came in, won 9 games, and was coach of the year, and then they flopped onto their back.
Oh, we didn't get paid. Remember, we didn't get paid.
Man.
There's
In
times
years.
we didn't get paid.
So we had Cam Rigby. He hurts his groin. They just stopped paying him.
Yeah.
We had a guy with peanut brittle feet. Tough nut.
Miles. He
He
not
did all
Kingma?
the dope in the world. No, the guard.
Oh, Brendan Mann.
Brendan Mann,
Yeah.
great guy. He was on our
Unbelievable guy.
97 World Championship team, a huge contributor, but he's got feet like peanut brittle. He comes to a full stop and it's crumbled.
Broke his foot 5 times.
So they just stopped paying him.
Yeah.
And, I come off, I get off the plane. When I come home, we got beat badly by Perth.
Yeah.
And my phone, I left my phone on my back tire. I opened it up. It's like, wow, Timmy Mallon's been fired.
Yeah.
Rick Castle, they just stopped paying him.
Yeah.
And then hey, we're going to cut this team completely. You're going to go. This is Jeff Blandon. We're going to go with James Crawford, Mark Davis, Butch Hayes, Willie Simmons.
People are retired.
and everyone black.
Yeah.
And I go, well, we're not doing that, mate. We're just not going to do that. You don't have that. We agreed that we're going to develop and attract.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a process. Well, he knee-jerked. So we came back, we met, we played Adelaide,
Yep.
and we beat them, right? And play Adelaide like you play the Japanese. Everybody stays home. Don't drive, don't help, because they're all drive and dump, kicking out for threes. Then we went up to, we lost a close one to West Sydney. And I was talking to Gordy about, mate, I'm on thin ice. They've let me know that, because I didn't go all black, that, you know, you don't start winning, you're going to be fired. Well, fuck. You know, fire me now. Yeah. Then we went up to Cairns and we got just
Smoked.
thumped.
Yeah.
And then the word came on the street through somebody Rick knew that as soon as you guys land, they're firing you. That's okay. And I remember because I saw Ian Davies, he goes, mate, they can't fire you guys. Your team stinks.
Yeah.
And you know, we had tryouts.
Yeah.
You know, like we had
Chris Harriman.
Yeah. And Matt. I mean, they were our two best players, really. No money for the imports.
Because I was a role player all my life, so it was a real burden to produce, which was good for me, but not good for...
You know, we got Geordie Cullen, that he was a talent, but I wouldn't say he had a high basketball IQ.
Yeah.
And if he wasn't
I would say
smacking
a
his
lot of people
girlfriend
don't
around,
even know the 100 Pirates even.
man, you should have seen it when we came to practice. Kingma, we got everybody's discards, right? And we didn't have any practice gear. They went out and bought us like reversible singlets that you get at Hart Sports, and then draw numbers on our arms for the preseason.
Yeah, that's true. That's
So
correct.
can we find any way to be cheaper?
Yeah.
But I remember Kingma coming to practice, and every singlet that he owned had, you know, cigarette burns in his shorts and his tops. Man, do you have one that doesn't have, you know, they have camera cans, there's a cherry, you know. I remember Sammy saying, well, mate, there won't be any fucking marijuana in the Hunter Valley.
No.
Geordie, Kingma, I mean, it was like, you know, okay, to each their own, but...
Just the nightmare was actually Ben Simmons remember Ben that used to be the floor wiper?
Yeah.
He's on the side there, and then you left, and then Dave took over, and that was back to the Melbourne Tigers shuffle.
Yeah, of course.
That's all he knew, and it was a long year. I remember coming up here, and you had been fired, and I came up to visit you. I don't know if you actually remember this, but I wanted to catch up with you for a beer after the game. I think we met on was it Oxford Street? What's the Caxton Street? Caxton Street, and it had been rumoured that the conversation that we had been recorded by our owner Jeff Bland, and
He did that to me.
Yeah.
I met with Butch at a coffee. Butch wanted to, and I got so tired of, I like Butch. But Butch, you know, money's involved now, so now Butch becomes bending the truth.
Businessman, yeah.
So I told him during this coffee meeting that the next time Jeff Blanton starts telling me about basketball, I'm going to be like Homer Simpson. There'll be a picture of a hamburger up here because that guy does not know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He doesn't know
And
talent.
skipped the country, didn't he?
He had to skip the country because, well, for one, like I mentioned, they were under-resourced. They had no money.
Yeah.
Right? But worse than that, they had no integrity. You know, so the week before the season starts, I get a phone call saying that, hey, Bruce, it's Butch. Hey, Bruce, we made a mistake on your contract. Your superannuation isn't on top of your salary. It's included in it. And I go, no, Butch, hold on a minute. I'll go grab my contract. And he goes, hold on, I'll put Jeff on. Now, when Jeff gets excited, he starts screeching, right, shrill. You're not listening. You know, I said, we made a mistake. And I go, no, there's no mistake, mate. He goes, you idiot, we made the mistake. We're not paying you on top of your salary. Your super's included in it.
That's just a bullshit.
It was wild. It was wild.
I go and I'm packing up my barbecue. I'm leaving. Strap my bike. I'm going. I can't trust these guys.
Yeah.
But our team manager, great guy.
What year is this?
Fuck. What was that?
2003.
Okay.
2004, I think they lasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I went
mate,
from
so
there.
I'm leaving, but our guy, who was a great bloke, and he used to work at Converse, I can't remember his name right now, he's coming in with my 2 VCRs. Well, I'm going to be editing like I did in '88. You know, stop, record, stop. I don't mind, you know, I have nothing else to do. I'm in Newcastle. And he goes, where are you going? And I go, I'm going back to Brisbane. I go, they can't be trusted.
Yeah.
You know, they just screwed I mean, it starts from the head down, everybody's going to get screwed. And then I remember they had not sent the contracts through. Rick Barnett was the new GM. They brought out a guy from the United States who, one of their bigger mistakes, nice guy, you know, on the fringes of the NBA, doesn't know anybody in the corporate world here, and you're going around trying to sell basketball. So I had to call up because all of our guys, for one, it was started with Cam, we're going to cut you because you're hurt. They didn't have any of their contracts. And then when he looked at it, he goes, you know, we have a ceiling, salary cap. You guys aren't at the floor. So he put in the next year, you got to spend a minimum. I think it was like 500,000.
Yeah.
We were at 380, right? And the highest paid guy we have was Kevin Brooks, who was, you know, past it. You know, he
In his day, he was good.
Great in his day.
yeah, and a great guy. But, you know, we're asking him to do way too much. So it's like, hey, Rick, mate, can you get make him send the contracts in? Because they're trying to screw us here. You know, they're trying to screw Cam out of, you know, sorry, you're hurt, you're not getting paid. Sorry, Brennan Mann, you're hurt, you're not going to get paid. I remember having Chris and his wife over Harryman.
You know, he couldn't feed himself.
Couldn't feed himself because he hadn't been paid. And he was only making like $2,500 a month. And they didn't have the resources to pay. So it was a nightmare. I've forgotten about it, really, but I wanted to bring it up to you because
I tried to forget about it.
well, it's easy to forget about
I
it.
actually had one of my better years, points per game, but yeah, and again, helped me with my career. I moved on to Perth, one of the best places,
Experiences.
one of the best organisations to come from one of the worst. So, 2 years in Perth after that sort of helped me.
You're 17 years in the league, is that correct?
Yep, 17, yeah.
Oh, you got your pension.
Yeah, I just got. Yeah, check. It's in the mail, I think. Still waiting.
What's your read? Sorry, Stevie. What's your read on this power play that Novelly?
Yeah, from the Illawarra owner trying to oust Larry Castleman.
It's interesting, isn't it?
He's gone to FIBA. He's gone to something in FIBA, like...
Yeah.
Well, the NBL is a FIBA recognized league.
Yeah.
I have to guess that this is all around the gambling.
I'm not 100% sure I got anything over it, to be honest with you. I've just heard of what I've read. So, yeah, it's very interesting. But, yeah, I know. It's whenever you own a few teams as an owner of the league, is
Considered a conflict of interest?
Maybe. Joey's a good friend of mine.
You know, love or hate Larry. Larry doesn't come along. This league's not sitting where it is
Well,
right
that's
now.
100% right too. You know, like it's right, but you know, like it's surprising for me when
in my lifetime, I
Yeah.
never thought that we'd have next stars.
What
That
surprises me?
NBL teams playing
Yeah.
against NBA teams in preseason, regardless.
It's grown. But what surprises me now is some of the worth of some of these clubs.
I know.
Like 10, 15, well, I don't know, 15 years ago, Bruce, you could buy a license for $1 million. You know, and now that's, if you have 40 millions, you know, the Jack Jumpers are priced at 35 million, someone told me. You know, the guy bought Perth. What did he buy Perth for? After Craig Hutchison bought it for 8 mil, now it's worth 40 mil. Like, where do they get these numbers from?
I don't know.
Well, I know one thing. So the United's got some assets, right? Don't they own a building across from Sandringham?
That's a totally different.
It's not theirs.
You know, it's not theirs. It's owned by Hoop City, which is a different entity. Hoop City are owned by a couple of Melbourne United owners,
Right.
but it's not. It doesn't work together.
Okay, but at least the Bullets now have an asset, right?
Well, they do.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at, I know you're AFL mad, I'm rugby league mad, and Bruce thinks he knows rugby union, which is...
I do not.
Well, you do.
I'm an
You
AFL man.
Yeah,
You are
yeah,
an
yeah.
AFL.
Oh, you're AFL man.
Lions.
I thought you loved the GPS rugby.
The GPS Gallopers.
Oh,
Right.
Okay.
So they're having their first home game. It's the best sporting ground
Okay,
in
but-
Ashgrove.
But what's happening at that pro level, and it's Landis is one of he's the CEO for the league. They're buying assets. They're buying other things.
Well, not only that, you talk about a facility, and I'm obviously D-Mac's my best man at my wedding, and I talk to him a lot, but some of the injuries these guys had last year could contribute to where they've been going for strength and conditioning and then getting in the car and going to team training. I mean, from all reports that, defensive Justin Schuller, they were travelling around the city to try to go to find a training venue and then trying to find a place to work out, and then where they were going for their treatment. So having that one place.
There was rumours around that club over
one place,
training.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but they've done the review.
Yeah, they got a guy named Bird
and
that's
they've
their
put
high
in
performance.
guys called Professor Bird, and they've got a new strength guy and conditioning guy.
I
as
think it was
well.
getting in the car and sitting in the car for a long time and then going, after you lift weights and then going to, that's the stuff we did in the 90s, to have a central place, and that's where everyone's gone now. I think it's really, really
Can I ask you
important.
what you think of, because it was a problem up here at the end of the season, if you recall, Bruce.
They went down
That-
and
that-
played a game in
but-
Moe or
Yeah.
Bansdale.
Oh, Traralgon, that's right. Yeah,
And it was like a sauna.
Yeah.
And everybody was sliding and
Walt
slipping.
did his Hemi that game as well,
Yeah.
Junior. But I was just getting back to the delayed concussion. I love talking
yeah,
about. Have you ever heard of, in your career, delayed concussion?
Not in my career, no. My head got knocked a lot of times, and
Well, it's
head
a
my
quite a,
size.
it's a good target.
yes, I was waiting for Bruce to chime in there, but yeah, head my size gets knocked a fair bit. But no, I've probably got continuous delayed concussion. So
Well, that's what we think. I think I got punched in the head at every single rugby league and basketball game I ever played in my life, and that's probably why I'm not so coherent today. and I've got delayed concussion, but it knocked it. Like Terrell had it for like 6 weeks, and Bannon got it. And I'm like, you got watch guys play AFL and rugby league and rugby union. and you
yeah,
go,
it's
I've never heard of it in those
it's a
codes
different world
before
now.
in my life.
Workloads, Bruce. Workloads. We used to do 3 a days for a week. There was no workloads.
Yeah.
It was just
God, yeah.
survival of the
And
fittest.
look, I'm sure some of that is correct. 'cause
Yeah, sports science has changed.
It's
Yep.
changed, evolved. Who's your favourite teammate in your 17 years?
Wow, that's a good question. Got to play with amazing players like the Giants days, Larry Senstock, Daryl Pearce, the late Daryl Pearce, D-Mac, come up here, play with Leroy, play with Steve Woodbury.
So they're the best
Went
players.
to Perth. I'll get there. Went to Perth. Played with Ricky Grace. But I still, I played a lot of different really good players and legends of this league. But geez, you can't go past. I can't go past D-Mac.
Yeah.
I
That's your
really
best
can't.
teammate.
I entered after not accepting the job up here with you guys, and I was a 2-man, and then all of a sudden Brett Brown tries to turn me into a point guard, and I'm playing against this guy every day for the next 5 years.
Could just handle the rock and
I'm going
pass.
home in tears, because he's given it to me every practice, which made me better and more valuable as a player because I could play multiple positions. But just the way he made people better without literally scoring, the impact of the
Yeah, so
game.
he's
he
an
just
all-timer.
happens to be an incredible player, but that's interesting that you're also a great teammate.
Unbelievable teammate, unbelievable person. We're still best mates to this day. So and he just comes from.
I mean, there's heaps of players that you've played with, and you would have played and coached, Bruce, that are phenomenal players, but they're not necessarily the best teammate.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Mark Leader stands in mind.
Yeah,
You-
absolutely.
you were
Played
a
with Matt
teammate, he
Mark
was
the
on
first
that
year. He was
team.
our captain in '94. Unbelievable. Paul Maley, some great Chris Jen,
Paul,
who came
great.
in '95. Some really good quality, some quality players, and very, very fortunate. So
Mate, your career is phenomenal when you go you're a winner. Like you
very lucky. I was a role player, and it's in the 3 championships I won in '92. I was a 16-year-old in year 10 at school.
Did you get to year 10?
Yeah,
Good
exactly.
on you, Matty.
It was primary school.
He was kicked out soon after.
Yeah.
And very lucky, like just walked in and Brian wanted someone to come and train with the Magic and sure, I always wanted to play since I watched, 89 back in the Giants days and the Spectres days, wanted to play NBL and that was lucky. A ring just slid on my finger, I didn't play a minute and then 94, obviously, again, I was probably the 10th man, but the best group of guys, like unbelievable, we're still best friends to this day. Like my role was what it was, but everyone needs a 10th man. Probably again, another ring slid on my finger, and then the Wollongong team in 2001, it just wasn't, no one picked us to do any good. No one picked us to win, a lot like the 94 team that we had.
So what do you think of the Illawarra team today?
Unbelievable. Yeah, it was good. It was great.
You were cheering, Tom?
I was cheering. We had a reunion on the game 4 back in Melbourne. Yeah, we all got together. People flew down. Glenn Seville flew down.
Just run through some names of that team.
It was Melvin Thomas was one of the best back-to-basket players. It was, you could throw it into him as a bucket. Axel Dench was a stretch 5. He came from Gonzaga. Charles Thomas was probably a cheaper American, but played a role for us. Damon Lowry came in to the NBL and hadn't played there before after being successful at a Siebel level, NBL 1 level. Then there were knockabouts like myself and Grant Kruger and
Glenn
Seville, he's not a knockabout. Matt Campbell.
Seville, we've talked about a lot of players on this podcast, and we haven't talked much about Seville, but he could seriously play.
Unbelievable, all round. He could do it all. Yeah, and probably in those junior days.
What is he, 6'6"?
He's 6'6", but in those junior days, he wasn't. He really came along.
Yeah.
And grew into himself after 3 or 4 years in the league, and
Great defender.
yeah, great defender, great rebounder,
And another great
versatile.
teammate. I thought, I'll never forget when we were having those selection camps for the 97, 22 and under. We went to the Castle, and I'm sitting between Sav and Aaron Traher. They're chuckling and giggling. I'm missing a lot of the jokes. I'll have to watch this again. But they were great guys and great teammates and
It seems
great
that
competitors.
This team seems a bit like that, Davo, like that kid is just, hickey.
Yeah, they had a chip on their shoulder, didn't they? They had a point to prove and a chip on their shoulder, and
I mean, Greeder, and what's the old guy, Blanchfield,
yeah, he was unbelievable.
It's
Yeah.
his back half of the season.
Yeah.
He had a heap of DNP in the first half of the year.
Stayed ready.
Yeah, and huge moments for him.
Yeah.
I mean, you can talk about unbelievable imports they did have, without question. But it must be so cool. So you had a reunion down at the Gong.
Yeah, we had a reunion up at the Gong. Everyone went back up to the Gong for Game 5. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. Kids and commitments and coaching this big Victorian team, we had training, so I didn't end up going and watching them win. Probably a big regret. Didn't watch them win, but I was so happy to see them win. And Sav actually, he had his uniform up in a frame from the championship days and ripped it out. Ripped half the frame out. The glass, the jersey was still stuck to the glass, and then put it on and took it to the game. So it was kind of cool. It was cool.
Yeah.
Matt Campbell too, I would say, he did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Club advisor there and put that group together. Silent assassin there in what he did, but played a major role in that championship, that's for sure.
It's good to see. Now, just for those of us who are going to go up and watch the under-18s, it starts Sunday.
Yep, Sunday, first game.
At Brendale, what's that called?
Yeah, Sports Centre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've hosted the last 3 years?
Yeah, this is the third year.
Third year.
Last year.
And I'm not going to put any pressure on you, but the Victorian Metro team is always tough as nails. In part because of you, Matt. I mean, you've done a great job coaching them. They handled adversity last year. You lost to Queensland South. I was at that game. It was a close game. They were able to pull it out.
Yep.
They were not able to handle the adversity of success and lost the next two. You guys went on, and who did you
Yeah.
beat in the final last year?
We beat South Australia in the final. We were down 8 points at halftime and came back and won that. But I remind the guys, and I bring people in all the time, it's about the history of representing Victoria. I bring former coaches, former players in. It's the people that have put in the work before us and the pride that they take in representing their state that I like to remind. I'm big on history, and I'm big on the previous players
Tradition.
and coaches that have been there before us. And we get guest speakers all the time coming in and talking to the boys just on the importance of
Nice.
representing their state, which is big to me. It's something I do with pride. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, and you do a great job of it. Actually, the entire.
Are you gonna go out?
Is Mark with you, Stainsbury? Or
Yes, he is the guru. Yes,
guru?
he's still there. He's
great.
Yep, he's going for his 9th gold medal.
And
Yes.
how about the assistants you had last year? They both
Same
with you?
assistants, yeah, very, very talented. And this is what we're talking about with talented young assistants. I mean, this guy, Andy Lim, he's the head video guy from Melbourne United. I keep learning. I learn from him. He's just an unbelievable mind, the way he cuts up film and relays that and teaches the kids throughout the week. It's massive, it's huge. And then another assistant coach in Dan Drolamy, he's an up-and-coming coach that will probably represent Victoria in coaching. Both of them will after I'm done.
Right, but you don't see yourself moving on, do
We
you?
usually get 3 years of this. So that was the Grant Wallace rule, but unfortunately Grant's not at Basketball Victoria anymore, well, fortunately. But we'll see. I think there's, our assistants probably deserve a gig too. I think you can...
They've done
they've done the work and they deserve a real responsibility and role to do that.
You've coached in the NBL one, right?
I've coached in the NBL one.
That was Knox.
Yeah, I've played and coached at Ballarat, Waverley. I've coached women, and I've won an under-14 national championship with girls. I've done a lot of things with I've won a Waratah League coaching in Coffs Harbour when I lived up there for 3 years. So I've done a lot of things in basketball and coached many different levels. I have a 21-year-old autistic son who I take great pride in coaching kids with special needs.
Wow.
Done many different things, male, female, special needs. I just love to coach and love to see kids reach their goals and their aspirations.
So do you see yourself, do you aspire? I know we talked about, and I think you should be given a look in for an NBL job, but you can't control who does the hiring. How about any interest in coaching NBL 1 again?
I enjoy the NBL 1. I love doing this. It's a short... I have 3 daughters that are heavily involved in rep basketball. My second daughter, not Zoe, was actually reserve in this under-18 group as a bottom major, Eliza. So she's going to be a really good player in her own right. So commitment to the 3 kids is hard during the year. The NBL 1, I've done it, and I just can't handle egos. The guys that come in, and you've dealt with this, I'm sure, at the Capitals. I've spoken to you before, that players that think they're worth the money they are, and I'm like,
The agents are just...
you're not worth that, mate. You're not worth that money.
Bruce and I have coached together for several years, and then Bruce was doing that director thing, and I
senior teams.
I had separation and change of jobs and all this shit that goes on with me, and I said, you know what, we're not going to coach this year, and this is when we said we do this. We said, I don't care if we have one person listen to us, or because our ego is 0, and we're just enjoying it. But part of that was 35 years of, Bruce has been coaching for 4,000 years, but the kids just the older ones, they just don't appreciate the effort that you have to put in to coach, which would consume you to coach this big metro team.
Yeah.
Like the effort you put in, correct?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
And so it is getting harder.
It's just the egos and just the sense of entitlement. I remember when I was playing, like, you get asked, do you have youth league here, and youth league, or NBL 1, it's like, oh, you want to play NBL 1, you want to suit up? It's like, well, how many minutes are you going to play? It's like, no, you just sit there. And you get 30 seconds and you make it the best. Yeah. And then, I don't want to do it. And it's the sense of entitlement and what's in it for me, and rather than just buying their time. But
I had an agent for a player. I won't embarrass the player. And I go, so I always ask, what is it that why would he want to come and play for us? And he goes, he needs $35,000 and a car
So what?
and an apartment on the Gold Coast.
To play for Brisbane, is an NBL player wanted to.
I said, mate,
so
there's-
you want a holiday to be paid for?
Yeah, I go, mate, there's 2 teams on the Gold Coast. Go there. I'm looking more, what does he want to, how does he want to
Yeah.
improve
How
by
does he wanna
playing with
develop?
us?
Yeah.
You're just worried about dollars.
Yeah.
And then Gabe Hadley, I had to tell him, I said, mate, I don't want, because that's a personal thing, your agent. But I go, your agent has no idea what your contract is. I mean, he's calling him up like, hey, what about his accommodation? I go, no, man, if you read the first thing, we don't, because it's very expensive rent here, and we
It's
don't
never
own
got the
a
coin.
we don't own a place. So
Can I pivot? We like to pivot a bit.
we do, because we're going to have to tie a bow in this
understand.
very
Before
shortly.
you put a bow in it,
Yes.
I just wanted to thank Matty for attending, and I've learned a lot about you today. I mean, you read stuff on paper, like your history is amazing, but just listening to how you talk and how he prepares the Vic Metro team, mate, I take my hat off to you, and I'm really enjoyed chatting
Also,
with you.
too, another thing that I want to say, watching you coach, mate, you stay composed.
I think you have to for them. Yeah, for
You
their own benefit.
correctly.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're going nuts, then
Yeah.
you got to expect those young players to
We'll
follow
feed off
suit.
it,
But
yeah.
your composure, your
I'm going to
strategy
try
and
and get out a game.
tactics.
Will you take me out to a game?
Will you make it to my house first?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. I'm going Sunday.
What time?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I'll just say, it's a
What time
privilege
do you
to talk
play
to you
Sunday?
guys. It's a privilege to talk to you guys. I've learned a lot from this man right here, and
Yeah.
still the terminologies that I get, I still remember, I still use now. Move on flight time, shot shows opposite, all those terminologies that you brought way back then. I've learned a lot from you, and the way I coach has a lot to do with this man right here. So,
The same for me.
it's a privilege to talk to you guys.
I appreciate it.
Now, what time's your game? First game?
12
tomorrow?
o'clock, we play Tassie.
Well, that's perfect,
It's good.
isn't it?
It's
Then we
good.
loiter around, we hang around.
Yeah, we'll go. Right. Well,
should-
sir.
Thank you.
Should I come here and we go in your back?
You guys will work it out.